On April 17 of this year, 2025, I had a very, very interesting experience in the middle of the night. And then I had subsequent, before and after, dreams that added little pieces of the puzzle to this, bits and pieces of information. And so what I have done is I have incorporated it into this one because they're basically about the same topic. And the title of this dream I had, this vision of the night I had, is I call it, I saw great turmoil, war, and destruction in America. So since the beginning of this year, I have been receiving, this year 2025, I have been receiving visions and dreams from the Lord that are of strategic importance. Okay? Let me see how I can share this, because I cannot share everything that I have received. I cannot. I have been told by the Almighty not to do that. And there's a reason for that. So I have been receiving these dreams and visions, strategic dreams and visions from the Lord of strategic importance. I'm not able to share them. And I have been receiving the direction from the Lord concerning things to come. And one of the things he told me is that I was not to release it, at least for the time being. Sharing this information would, number one, jeopardize his divine plan. And secondly, possibly place my family in danger. So there are, like I said before, there are other dreams and visions I have received in the past that I can only share certain parts of it. And then there are other dreams and visions I have received that I am able to share fully with the people. This particular vision of the night that I received on this night is one of those that I cannot share fully with the people, where I'm not able to release certain parts of it at this time. And so anyway, this is I'm going to share as much as possible, because God's lambs, you precious people out there, you need to know this so that you can be prepared. So I asked the Lord about the future of this nation, the path it would take, what would happen. And it was on this night, April 17, 2025, that I was shown a lot of destruction and chaos in many parts of the country because of different reasons. Because of cataclysms, because of wars, because of civil unrest, and so forth. One of the things that I saw at the government had placed new taxes on food, like milk, bread, eggs. And this 1%, okay, additional tax, this was a 1% additional tax. Right now, we're not paying any taxes on food. Okay? But I saw that we were going to be given 1% additional tax on items, taxes on food, and then taxes on 1% additional taxes on items that we already pay tax on based on the number of people in the household. I know that sounds strange, but they're already talking about doing this in New York City. So it's not that strange now. Now remember, I had this experience in April of this year. And this information is coming about New York, the plans that the communist man there, I can't remember his name, Mandami or something like that. He's planning on doing something like that. And, basically, the government taking over the grocery stores and, and other businesses. Now, I saw when this happened in my experience, my dream, I saw that people were complaining about the new taxes. But they were not rebelling, not yet. They were complaining, but they were not rebelling because the taxes, although they didn't like it, it was not intolerable. It was just a 1% additional tax and then taxes on the food. But the people were not happy. Food became scarce. I saw food rationing, different methods of food rationing. People would receive allocations. They would receive like similar to what I had in Cuba. We had in Cuba, like a card. Each household was given a card. I'm talking about Cuba, okay? I'm not talking about what the Lord showed me. But this may be how it's going to happen. In Cuba, the families would receive like a card, and he had different items on it. He would have bread, he would have milk, he would have coffee, meat, things like that, chicken, beef, all kinds of things. And then he would have other items, like shoes and clothes and things like that, right? Although those things were not as restricted, it was the food items and the medicine that was really being controlled by the government. And so people were complaining, but they didn't rebel. And they were not happy. And then when the food began to become scarce, I saw food rationing. There was not enough food for everyone. The stores began to close down all over. The government was not helping. The people were on their own. I saw much suffering in the land. People were suffering. People then began to band together for survival. Not all the states fared the same. They were not having the same problems, the same issues. Some states were better than others, but the southern part of the states, I noticed the southern part of the states were very damaged, while the northern part of the states were not. I don't know if that makes any sense. In some states, this may not be the case in every single state, but I saw where the southern part of the states were very damaged. The northern part, not as bad. Now, this may not be the case in every state, but that's what I saw. Then the scene changed, and I was talking to a group of people that love God very much in this nation. And by the way, before I go on and share that, I do want to share that I had another experience back in the year 2008, in March 29, 2008. And in this experience, this vision, the dream of the night, I was watching TV. A small TV, in a recliner, and all of a sudden, I started to see on the TV screen large explosions, very large explosions taking place in major cities in America. They appeared to be very large, maybe Small nukes, could be. And many people died from these explosions. I could see and hear the news reporters. They were reporting the explosions and saying how many people had died. And I saw this scene of the television change twice. And while I was watching, I could see a reporter, and then it would change. And I started seeing another reporter reporting from a different city. In the background, I could see the smoke, the debris of the explosions, and smoke coming out of it. I also heard sirens and the police blaring loudly in the background. And so what the Lord showed me about this particular experience I had was that the U.S. is going to suffer a horrific terrorist attack or attacks in the future. I remember this was back in 2008. And it will be more disastrous than 9/11 because it will be several. I saw at least 3 or more major cities that were being devastated. I saw many people died as a result of the attacks. And this caused martial law to be brought into the nation. Now, this is, again, I have had several experiences about terrorist act being planned. Remember, I saw one where I was taken in the spirit to a Muslim terrorist training center and witnessed how this event was being planned. And they were using test tubes with a bluish substance inside. So that could be, and I saw it. That one was a vision of the night. I was taken there. I was hearing what they were planning. They were laughing. They were rejoicing. I saw it. And they were saying, their thing, Allahu Akbar, and things like that, and they were hugging and kissing each other, things of that nature, because of the terrorist act that was being planned. These explosions that I saw could also be the result of nuclear missile attack by the enemy. Nations like North Korea, China, Russia. And so this is, again, this was what I saw back in 2008. Then also I saw another one in November of 2008. I also saw one about revival fires in America. There's going to be revival in America while these things are happening, or right after these things happen. People are going to run to Jesus Christ, similar to what happened after 9/11 in 2001. People were being healed of cancer, tumors, blindness, deafness, epilepsy, and many other diseases. And then something very strange happened. I saw myself floating through the air, moving through the air, going anywhere I wanted to go, or I thought I needed to go, or where the Spirit was taking me. I saw myself moving through the air, and that's probably going to be the only way that the Lord is going to be able to use me, because right now, the way things are, I'm not traveling. I'm not traveling like I used to. No, sir. I'm traveling around town and things, but I can't travel that much anymore because of my age, because of my problems, my health issues. So, I have told the Lord, if you're going to use me, you're going to have to either heal me, make me young again or something, give me the strength of a buffalo, do something, or you're going to have to take me through the air. Just teleport me where you need me to go. So in this particular experience, that's exactly what I saw. I was traveling through the air, wherever place I thought I would go there. Then I heard myself saying in a loud voice, there are 10 revival fires taking place in the country at the same time. And I woke up saying these words at the top of my voice. And so there's going to be a move of the Spirit in this nation that's going to shake the foundations of the church. Mighty move. And many people are going to be saved. Many people are going to be touched. Many others will reject him, of course, but there's going to be many that are going to be saved, and they're going to have an opportunity to repent of their sins and be saved. So according to this vision of the night I saw, this experience from the Lord, there will be, at some time, there will be 10 revival fires happening simultaneously in this nation. And so when this happened, what the Lord showed me and spoke to me was, we have to be able to embrace it. Those people out there, the naysayers, the ones that say, nah, there ain't going to be no revival before Jesus returns, blah, blah, blah. Those are negative party poopers, right? That don't believe anything good is going to happen. They're defeatists. They're people that have a defeatist mentality, a negative mentality. They don't think anything good is going to happen because they're depressed, they're discouraged, and they think that because they're depressed and discouraged, the Lord is too. And nothing good is going to happen, but that's not the case. From what the Lord showed me, he warned me is that the people need to know, the people must be ready. When this happens, they need to embrace it, because it will be the real thing from God. And it's going to happen in many places. And wherever it happens, it is going to transform that region for the glory of God the Father. So that one I also received in November of 2008. And right before that one, also in 2007, January 4, 2007, I'm sharing this with you because they are in chronological order to bring us to where I'm sharing today. So this had been on my website since back then, since 2007, 2008. They have been there, but a lot of people don't read it because they think if it's not a brand new program that I'm doing today, those visions and dreams, they're not important. Believe it or not, that is the mentality of a lot of people. They do not understand that some of these prophetic visions and dreams God has given me, sometimes they take years to be fulfilled. Some of them have been fulfilled already. Many of them have been fulfilled already, but others have not. And so we're coming to the point where a lot of these other dreams and visions that God has given me are now going to be fulfilled. And so in this particular one, I was standing on a very high platform, and there was multitude of people. And they were acting as if they were waiting or anticipating for something to happen. There was an air of expectancy. And I kept telling them to be ready. Kept telling the people to be prepared for the coming glory of the Lord. I kept telling them to get their lives in order, just like I've been doing in these programs. I kept telling them to get ready. But everyone seemed worried and concerned about stuff going on in their lives and in the immediate world around them. They had their eyes on everything going around them except on the Lord. They did not have their eyes on Jesus. So in this experience, I began to get very frustrated as I was telling the people. I was encouraging, I was telling them. Then I was really insisting. They were not listening to me. I noticed they were not listening to me, as it's happening now. A lot of people do not listen. They're not listening. They don't want to listen. And so I noticed that there were several other men there on the platform with me. Now, I saw a very tall man, black man, very tall, 7 or 8 feet tall. He was like my spiritual bodyguard, which I later on I discerned it and I prayed about it, and I discerned that that man was the angel of the Lord. He was one of my bodyguards, spiritual bodyguards. And he looked at me with a sad, bewildered look on his face, seeing that the people were not listening to what I was telling them. And then I looked in a different direction, and as he was looking in my direction, he was overwhelmed by the Spirit and fell prostrated on the floor. I mean, he was like he was under the power of God. He just fell on the floor. So I turned to look in the direction that he was looking at, and I watched in the distance what appeared to be a very bright cloud of glory. A glory cloud. The light coming from it was so blinding. The light was so powerful that this glory cloud was almost too bright to look at. I quickly turned to the people below that were there, and I started shouting at them to hurry up, lift up your hands to heaven, start worshiping the Lord. Get ready to be received, overwhelmed, and gathered by the approaching glory cloud. Apparently, I knew in my spirit this glory cloud was the coming of the Lord. Pay attention. This glory cloud, I knew in this experience, this vision of the night, it was the coming of the Lord to get his people. I turned again and looked at the glory cloud, and I noticed that it was much closer now. And I could now see inside the glory cloud large numbers of chariots, horsemen, within the cloud. And it was approaching very fast. The tall man, black man that had been prostrated on the floor, he got up, and seeing that the people were not listening to me, turned to the people and said out loud with a boom. Now this is what came out of his mouth, not my mouth, out of the mouth of this tall black man, which I discerned was an angel of the Lord because he was huge. And this is what he said: listen to the apostle. That's it. And at that moment, I just woke up, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget in the middle of the night. Now remember, this was back in 2007. That was almost 20 years ago. Okay? When he said those words, it caught me by surprise, because I wasn't even doing this ministry I'm doing now. I was basically just beginning to write my books and things like that. So this was a kind of a shocker to me when he said that. But I woke up from this vision feeling a strong urgency in my spirit. And so this happened. Darkness is going to engulf the planet Earth, and The platform represents the ministry that God has given me to preach. And the people, worried about things. They were just worried about their problems. They were just worried about their circumstances and things happening in the nation, things happening in their lives. And they just were not paying attention to what I was saying. They were not looking at Jesus. They were not looking to him. They were looking at the wrong things. Spending time on the wrong things. And the other men in the platform represent other men of God who, along with me, are warning the multitudes, getting the people to be ready. There were not that many. There were some, but there were not that many. There was not like hundreds of them. No. It was like several of them. And the tall black man that looked like my bodyguard seemed to be my guardian angel, but could also be a real person in the near future, both. So as this darkness continues to engulf planet Earth, the people need to look up to Jesus, Yeshua, or they're not going to be able to participate in what I just shared, the coming glory cloud. And so this was back in 2007, and around the time I saw the explosions in the U.S. cities, I also had another one on 2011, and I saw in the year, let's see, 2011, I saw a nuclear attack. I was very tired and getting ready to go to bed, and suddenly, in the presence of God, I heard a very familiar voice that I have heard in the past and recognized. And he said, and I love that individual, that voice, and he said, Russia will do a nuclear attack. There will be a nuclear attack on the United States. That was it. And the interpretation on that was that the decision had been made by Russia to use nuclear weapons to attack this country. And that the option had always been on the table, but the decision was now being made. And we are close to that, precious people. This nation has turned to ungodliness and corruption and depravity, as well as many other nations. This is not just America. America deserves it. America deserves judgment, but so do many other nations. So if the church will repent, pray, and intercede on behalf of America or on behalf of any nation, the judgment will be lessened, and it will not be so severe and devastating. And so, I saw nuclear attack, which brings us to another one I saw in 2012. Another experience I had, which was a revolution coming to America. And again, this was back in 2012, okay? This was a vision of the night. This was not a dream. I repeat, this was not a dream. How do you know, Augusto? Because I know. I have had both of them. Dreams are kind of, they're not as sharp, they're not as bright, they're not as, the presence of God does not impregnate a dream like it does a vision. A vision is loaded with God's presence, and it's very clear and very precise. And you know it is a vision from the Lord. You know God is talking to you. If you have never experienced this, then there is no way I can explain it to you other than that. But it was a very large, well-lit room, and it was full of bookcases. important looking documents, and there was a small group of men in the room who were explaining to me the plans, the process, and the history of the elite. They began to methodically explain to me how they were behind most of the important events that have historically transpired on planet Earth. I was shown maps and maps and maps and information recorded on strange looking documents. As I was listening to them, share many of these things, I was astounded at the brilliance and the wisdom and the evil wisdom of the plans and methods that these individuals, the elite, the cabal, the Khazarians, okay, Kabbalist Khazarians, they were using over the centuries to achieve their evil goals. Their desire is that evil works always remain hidden, not exposed. They wish to remain in the shadows, hidden, doing their work, their evil work, from behind the scenes, planning, controlling, murdering, deceiving, threatening, manipulating, creating chaos, controlling things wherever and whenever they can. They are the seed of the evil one. Totally evil beyond description. I was shown with great detail how they had cunningly devised and manipulated world events here in America and other countries, to achieve their ultimate goal of world power and control. I also was shown how the seed of the evil one, and countless times in the past, these plans were devised, they were concocted behind closed doors to destroy, exterminate, commit genocide on God's righteous seed of our Father. But those attempts failed every time. The Almighty stopped them. These people are sick. They're demonic beings whose only aim is the destruction of the ways of the Creator, His kingdom, His earth, and His people. But the Lord was always one step ahead of them. No matter how brilliant, no matter how wise, no matter how well planned their actions were, the Almighty always was a step ahead of them. And I was watching all these things that were taking place, intently listening to what I was being told. One of the men approached me and said in a loud voice, listen carefully, people. He said in a loud voice, there is going to be a revolution in America. It will usher in the new world order. As soon as I heard this, I was awakened. This brings us back as we're getting ready to close. Okay, we got a few more minutes left. This brings us back to what I just had, April 17th of this year. I share these other experiences with you, these other dreams and visions with you, because they are pieces of the greater puzzle. And so the scene changed, and then I saw myself talking to a group of people that loved God and loved this nation. We were talking about all the things that were taking place in the land in America. When I saw a man that carried great authority, an angel of God. It could also be a man, or both. And he came to where we were. He started speaking to the group of people about some things concerning what was coming, what was going to take place in the future. He gave specific dates, which I'm not going to mention. As he was getting ready to leave, he turned to the people and handed them a book. He spoke in a loud, commanding voice and told the people that they needed to prepare for what's coming. He told them that they needed to know this book by heart and be prepared. And again, this was a group of people. This was not multitudes and multitudes and thousands upon 10,000s and thousands of millions. No, 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 no. This was a group of people. It wasn't a very extremely large group of people either. And so he spoke in a loud commanding voice and told them they had to prepare for what's coming. He told them that they needed to know the book by heart and be prepared. The people also received a copy of our books, Open Heavens and Smile Jesus Loves You. He said the same thing to the people, told them to prepare themselves for what's coming. And then after this happened, the mysterious man left, disappearing into thin air. And that's when I was awakened. Now, this man could have been, this word could have been brought through one of God's high-ranking angels. He did not say his name, but he had great authority about him. So it must have been a messenger angel that carries great authority in God's kingdom. He told important things that I am not able to share. He talked about cataclysms, wars, turmoil coming upon the land of America. And the people were told to use the time wisely, to prepare themselves properly in the natural and spiritually. He also said that the things that were coming upon this nation were going to take place simultaneously. Maybe not all at once, but during the same time period. Since this incredible experience, this was, April 17th of this year, 2025. I have begun to teach God's lambs how to prepare in this Thursday teachings. This is why I have been teaching you how to prepare, how to be ready. I did not decide to do this because I had nothing else to do or because I had no other thing to talk about. I have begun doing this because of this experience I had in April. So I pray that you that are listening are taking advantage of these teachings, for the sand is almost gone out of the hourglass. Seek Jesus while he may be found. Prepare now while you still have time. And that's about it, precious people. Right now, the situation is very tense between Russia and the United States. It is also very tense between China and the United States. China is threatening to attack Taiwan. They're getting ready for it. We have spoken about this. We have shared news reports about this. And of course, in the Middle East, Netanyahu is still hell-bent on starting a big war with Iran. And he's still doing things over there in the Middle East, in Gaza and so forth and so on. So the world is in chaos. We need to pray for this land, because this land is going to be sifted. This country is going to be sifted like wheat. People are going to be sifted like wheat. And the powers of darkness have been unleashed. I'm not going to get into that now. but they have been unleashed, and I am seeing it more and more in the lives of others as well as around me. Many people are just not discerning enough because they have not been exercising their senses, spiritual senses, in the discerning of good and evil. Therefore, they don't know what's happening. They have no clue what's going on. You could hit them with a 2x4 across the face, and they just still they cannot wake. It's like they're in a spiritual slumber. They're asleep, and they're good people. I'm talking about the good people. Remember the parable of the 10 virgins. 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. Go back and read that again and again. Because we're coming at a time when that is going to become a reality. All 10 were virgins, which means all 10 were believers, but not all 10 were ready. I pray and trust that this program has been a blessing to you. This is Augusto Perez. Until next time, God bless you. Shalom.